Welcome to another long overdue episode of Monday Movie Pickup. I have quite a few movies that I need to discuss in some upcoming Monday Movie Pickups. The series I'm talking about today is Vestron Video. This is releases done through Lionsgate, and as of recently they've brought it back. It was on a bit of a hiatus for a while, but now they're doing some newer releases, and I've had a few Vestron Video purchases in the past. Little Monsters, Return of the Living Dead Part 3. For the most part, they release horror movies, but they've sometimes gone to different genres, different cult movies, and I'm just going to go through everything one by one in order of their release. So here is Blood Diner. Yes, the cult horror movie that, as the name implies, pretty straightforward. Horror movie, takes place in the diner. I'll give you an idea of what the disc art looks for each of them, but mostly it's just the cover art again. But they always include some different special features, so the releases are well put together for any cult movie fans out there. Here is Waxwork and Waxwork 2, Lost in Time. So they also do a lot of these collection releases where they bundle different movies together, different sequels together, and that's for a collector like me. That's what we're all about. We're looking for those collections that just put all the movies together. And this one actually does have a reversible cover art as well. On the inside there, you can see that there is the cover for Waxwork 2 if you want to flip the sleeve. Here's Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Probably one of the best sequel titles ever. Probably not one of the best sequels ever, but this is the sequel to the other cult classic, Chud. And I don't own the original Chud, I realize. I probably should get that in my collection if I'm going to own the sequel, but come on, you can't go wrong with a title like this. Bud the Chud, incredible. Here's a really strange one, Lair of the White Worm. Some of these titles are incredible. How did none of these movies end up being one of the highest grossing movies of all time with the title alone? Now, there's a different version of this Blu-ray that's available in a different region, because this one actually goes for a higher price nowadays. I don't know if it's necessarily out of print, but of all the titles that I've bought, this is the 6th movie in the Vestron Video line. So, yeah, this one was the most expensive by far. Not too pricey, but for this line was by far the priciest. We have Randy Quaid here in the movie Parents. Okay, this is maybe one of the more basic titles, so I'm not too surprised that this one isn't all that successful of a movie. But there you go, for all those Randy Quaid fans out there. Now here is a great collection of movies. We have the Wishmaster collection, 4 films in one set, so that's what I'm talking about. Try to pack in as many movies as possible. Some of the movies share a disc, but there's 3 discs in here though, so the only annoying thing is that they don't say which film is on which disc. All the discs share the same cover art except for the disc numbers, so at least 2 of the movies are on the same disc, and they don't really tell you which one. Even on the back, they don't say which disc each movie is on. Warlock collection. So here's another instance of multiple movies on one set, and if I remember correctly, this is a 2-disc set. And in this case, it actually says Warlock is on disc 1, Warlock 2, and Warlock 3 are in disc 2. So they amended the issue that they had with their previous release, Wishmaster. It's a cover that gives Western vibes, but it's Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat. So you can see from some of the screen grabs on the back of the case, yeah, this still is one of those cult classic horror movies. One that you used to find at the video store, a VHS that you would rent and watch and laugh or enjoy with your friends. And that's what Vestron Video originally was. I mean, this is a line that technically used to exist back in the VHS era. They just now use the name for this Blu-ray line, licensed out by Lionsgate. This came with a digital copy, so at some point, this is actually the 21st release, at some point they started doing digital copies with the films. They actually note if there's a digital copy on the back. The other releases that I went through didn't have that, so good on Lionsgate at one point to include some digital copies with the releases, but a lot of the early ones, the early releases, didn't have that. So here's Steel Dawn, which this kind of goes into the whole, how I was saying that a lot of these releases are horror movies, but in some cases, it's actually more like fantasy movies, like this one here with Patrick Swayze. Not a movie that I've ever even heard of, but Patrick Swayze in a fantasy movie titled Steel Dawn, which, again, it's a cool title, but I can't imagine even what the movie's going to be about. And then we're taking a completely different direction with Dream a Little Dream. This is just some sort of high school movie. Again, not a horror movie, so Vestron Video went outside the box at times with their releases, but again, it's more about those types of cult movies that you would find, those lesser known movies you would find at a video store. Here's Extreme Prejudice, a Nick Nolte movie that involves like a drug cartel and such. So again, not a horror movie. Vestron Video with their later releases started to go a little wilder with the titles. Here's one that I actually have heard of, Jeff Goldblum, Earth Girls Are Easy. Gina Davis, Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans, has a whole lot of people that would become famous later on. So I have heard of this one. Again, kind of has that cult movie status, and for all the fans of it, finally in pristine Blu-ray digital quality. Another multi-film collection, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which has the third, fourth, and fifth movie. So a very strange set, because it does not include the second or original film, just the later sequels. The other two should be licensed out elsewhere. I don't own them. I believe Silent Night was released by Shout Factory, Scream Factory, and I think that's the same case with the sequel. I think both were released by Scream Factory. So the sequels got released through Vestron Video, and each sequel got its own disc. It does say which disc is which, so that's incredibly helpful. And yeah, digital copy for all three films, but not a very complete collection though, given that it's missing the first two, you know, the cult classic horror movie, but also the sequel that in itself became a cult classic because of how terrible it was. And then last but not least, we have My Best Friend is a Vampire. This one is more in the horror comedy territory. Another one to add to the collection. I'm going to continue watching out for the Vestron Video collection releases, but let me know which ones you have, which ones you like a lot, and well, see you next time. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, and Lucas for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you'll be able to get some exclusive videos, some different vlogs in the future, and you'll be able to request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.